So we were really happy to see that the European and its member states attended the start of the Intergovernmental Working Group. However, we were really shocked to see that yet again they made a lot of problems before the program of work could be adopted. So we think that is totally out of order, and we really want the EU to participate in a constructive way. However, at the end of the day, we did have a chair rapporteur that was appointed. We had a program of work that was adopted, and now at the second day we see that the EU is also engaging on content, and that is really what we need to see. We need to have the EU engaging in a content way, and next year we want to see them also engaging much more in a constructive way. What we notice is that when the business associations spoke, the International Chamber of Commerce and the International Organization of Employers, they voiced their concerns about the UN Treaty. We see that the EU is following exactly the same argument. So we are afraid that this is an example of corporate capture of the EU in this process, and we think therefore it's really important that business don't join these negotiations. Yeah, we think it's very important that there is also that the elements also take much more a feminist perspective into account, because now the only way women are being mentioned is in a group of like marginalized people, vulnerable people, whereas it is very important to recognize that women's struggles have their own dynamics, and that these women are also recognized as being very powerful and bringing their own content to these elements.
So I think the French law on duty of vigilance can bring several lessons to the talks here on the UN Treaty. First of all, to see that an important country like France has passed a binding law can inspire other countries to do the same. And also the content of the law can also help us overcome some of the sensitive points that are being discussed here, like the discussion about the scope, if the treaty needs to cover transnational corporation or enterprises. And here we see that in the French law, the focus is on parent companies and subcontracting companies, so what we usually call transnational corporation, but it covers all the subsidiaries and companies that they control, and also their whole value chain, so the providers and subcontractors. And this way, in a sense, we are covering almost all enterprises that can commit a violation of human rights. We can overcome this debate. We think that the approach of the French law is really what we have been asking also as Friends of the Earth International, that is to focus primarily on transnational cooperation, because it is where the power lies, it is where the decisions are being made, but we need to cover the whole supply chain and the whole subsidiary and company that are controlled by multinational. One more thing is that during the 3-4 years battle that we had in France to have our law adopted, the opponents were always saying that France could not make progress alone on this, that it was an international matter. And so now we see also in Switzerland, they have the same with their national initiative. The government says Switzerland cannot do this alone. And so now we see that with this UN treaty, also governments like France and the other one can really build at the international level, but we need both. We need the national and international level, and both are complementary.